now. Someone's killing showgirls, and he wants to know why. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but the man to get it on. And welcome to the show. Tom Pelphrey is here, actor and beyond. New show, which is coming out September 7th on HBO. Task also has Mark Ruffalo in it as well. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the journey for you. Is soap operas where it starts, or is Broadway where it starts, or how's it start? Soaps.
Yeah, soaps. I came out of school and read on a soap, Guiding Light, in New York. At the time, was the longest running TV show in history.
Is it still on?
No, I ended it.
Was it like 53 seasons or something insane?
It was something like that, because it actually started as a radio show in 1937.
Wow.
Yeah, and then when it could become a television show, it did, and then I was on it for a few years, and a few years after I left, it ended in like 2009.
I think maybe we make too much about, well, this guy was on a soap, or this guy was on this famous sitcom, and then he got typecast, and then he couldn't get work because he was that guy. Like, Gilligan was Gilligan of Gilligan's Island. That's all they wanted to play. But then there are plenty of people, Johnny Depp was on 21 Jump Street, then he just started making movies. Like, he could do it. Like, maybe the Brady kids weren't that talented, is what I'm saying. Like, I know Eve Plum. I don't think she's got enough horsepower to get out there and lead a movie, is what I'm saying.
There's bad acting everywhere, There in films and television, on stage and in soaps, and there's also great actors everywhere.
Well, soaps to me are like, it means you're good looking and maybe you can act. But at least we know you're good looking enough to act, and then we see if you can act. And so and I also think of it kind of weirdly, like, I used to do comedy traffic school. I guess I have to explain it to people. I used to have traffic school in lieu of getting a ticket, or it wouldn't end up on your registration or whatever it is, your record. You could go to 8 hours of traffic school.
I've been there.
And they had comedy traffic school, which is taught by a comedian. So it makes the 8 hours seem like 7.5 hours or something like that. But it costs like $5 extra. But my whole point is I thought to myself as a young performer, I thought, hey, man, if I can do 8 hours on my feet in front of like a hostile crowd, then I can do anything. And I didn't look at it as not doing comedy. I looked at it as a harder form of comedy.
Yeah.
And I always thought soap operas were like acting, like moving, lots of dialogue to mow through, lots of pages to remember, like a kind of a boot camp for acting, not non-acting, like boot camp acting.
100%. I studied for theater, high school, college. I'd never even been in front of a camera. And you're doing 55 pages a day. Just
really?
As an example, like when we're filming Task, we're doing like 5 or 6 pages a day. On a soap, you film 55 pages a day. There's a new hour-long episode every day, 5 days a week, 51 weeks a year. So the only week we had off was between Christmas and New Year's.
Right. So it's boot camp for acting.
You're putting in time.
Right. And then you go from there into another example. Kurt Warner. You like football, right?
Love football.
Me too. Kurt Warner for the Rams, greatest show on turf and all that stuff. He played arena ball. And he did well in arena ball, and then they give him a shot for the Rams, and next thing you know, he wins the Super Bowl. But he said the game slowed down when he got to the NFL.
Yeah.
Because the arena ball was faster.
Right.
His field was smaller, and there was just more coming at him at a faster clip because it was smaller.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, that's kind of soap opera to making shows for HBO, right? Like it slows down. You're doing 5 pages versus 55.
I mean, it slows down eventually. I don't know if that was about going from soap to something else. I think it was just time spent doing the thing. Mm-hmm. Like I remember when I was in high school, I had a great teacher, Steve Kazikoff, and he told us this quote from I think it was like Robert Duvall or something. And Duvall said, it takes 25 years to be an actor. And I remember thinking it like 15, like,
Right.
geez, like, no way, I'm great now. But then sure enough, like about 25 years of doing it, I was like, oh, now I feel like there's things that are happening that I'm not having to consciously will into existence. Like
Right.
there is something to what he said.
No, I agree. I think same way with comedy to a large extent in that it's a weird sport in that you go, well, I'm funnier now than I was when I was 45, which seems kind of a little weird and counterintuitive, but you do quietly and invisibly like imbibe things. I don't even know if you learn them. They just kind of penetrate your skin and you use them. And
100%.
and it's kind of a thing where it's like, in a weird way you feel like an athlete who's lost a step but picked up a bunch of technique.
100%. We were talking about football. Like you see that with the quarterbacks where their mind is working so much faster and they could diagnose the defense quicker and everything is slowed down. But then physically you're like, where's that sweet spot where you can still whip the ball?
So you wanted to act from the Jump Street, pardon the pun again. So you knew what you wanted to do in high school.
When I met my high school teacher, yeah.
And it wasn't a thing where you were discovered later on in life bartending or something. You went out of high school, which was where?
Howell High School in New Jersey, and it's a public high school. It's the high school I would have gone to anyway, but it turned out that they had a performing arts like magnet program that I ended up auditioning for and getting into, but it was going to be my high school regardless.
And so that was serendipitous, and then you go to New York, and it's soap opera. How long?
Go to Rutgers, get my BFA there. They have a conservatory called Mason Gross. I went there partially because Kazakov, my high school teacher, went there and had a great, education there. Go into soaps in like 2004 when I leave college in New York City for 2.5 years. And then, kind of like 8 or 9 years of struggling and trying to figure it out and jobs here and there. And yeah.
Is it a good time? There's so much going on. I mean, there's so many platforms, there's so many projects, which is good, but it also means you can get lost into just a sea of projects and platforms. And, it's not like when I was in junior high, I knew everyone who was on TV. Mm-hmm. I really do. I think you couldn't be on TV and not have me know you were on TV. There were 3 networks. I knew The Love Boat. I knew Dan Tana. I knew Fantasy Island. I knew the Duke Boys. I knew everyone in the Dukes of Hazzard world. Like, I don't know that you could have been on TV and not had like a 13-year-old Adam Carolla know who you were.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Because it must have been bizarre. It was bizarre for them because they weren't, that was like Catherine Bach and she was Daisy Duke and she looked good in cut-off shorts, but she probably wasn't a great actress. But everyone knew who she was everywhere she went.
Yeah.
More so than, probably more so than whomever the biggest actors of today. Robert Downey Jr. could walk through a mall and get stopped less than the guy who played Cooter from Dukes of Hazzard in 1979.
That's definitely possible. Yeah. No, I know.
And now it's like there's so many shows and so many platforms. And I don't know if that's good or not. Like, do you like
it gives
a little anonymity?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I love what I get to do, and I love that I get to make a living doing what I love. And if that could, the better you do it and the more luck you run into in terms of like the thing you do being successful is probably going to lead to more people knowing who you are, but that's also how you're going to get access to better work. They're kind of inseparable. If you could pull them apart, sure. But, yeah, it's more spread out now. More people get an opportunity, but there's also more stuff that,
Are you into writing? Do you want to get into creating and producing and directing and all that stuff?
Yeah, I've been writing. I've been writing mostly for myself for the last 8 years, trying to figure it out. And this past winter, I was home and just got 10 books on writing and tried to give myself a crash course, and came out with one that I think is shareable. So sent it out, and in the process of getting some notes and trying to make it better.
Ozark was a good project you're involved with, I'm guessing. I got to admit, I never saw Ozark. Everyone loved Ozark, and I took their word for it. It's kind of like my modern-day Wire. I never saw The Wire. Everyone said you have to see The Wire. It's the best show, and then turned into Ozark, and everyone did the same thing with Ozark. But I haven't seen either one of them. But there's something wrong with me. But you know what? It's okay.
Ozark is awesome. If Ozark also strikes it walked a real tightrope of very violent, very high stakes drama, and you're laughing out loud the whole time, in my opinion.
Yeah. At least when I've seen of it, it seems. I'll believe you on that. Kaley Cuoco is fiance. It must be nice dating someone who works. I'm always jealous when I hear that. I don't know. You tell me. I have a theory.
Yeah.
When people go, oh, guys couldn't handle it if their girl was successful or made more money than them. I go, try me. Just try me. I bet I could make that adjustment. Bet I could.
Yeah, I think it's badass. I think it's amazing.
I do too.
Cool. Yeah.
The only thing, my theory is if a woman made more than the man, she would call more shots than a man gets to do if he makes more than the woman.
Not true.
Not true in your
case.
situation.
No.
Oh, so that's just win-win.
No, it's amazing. I mean, she's such a badass. I have so much respect for her and look up to her, and it's great also at the end of the day, be able to come home and ask somebody for advice that you love and trust and believe in and respect. What she's been able to do is obviously one in a million, and
yeah. I mean, Big Bang Theory, almost, I don't know, the last of this, not the last, but close to the last of the sitcom sort of as we know it, 3 or 4 camera audience, traditional. The genre they announced was dead 20 years ago, and it was able to do it. I mean, Modern Family was single cam and not live audience and that kind of stuff. But I don't know. Was that, I mean, I guess 2.5 Men and then Big Bang were the last of the, multicam live audience, sitcom as we knew it.
100%. I think they were the last ones. Yeah. And everything changed after that.
I mean, is there anything after? I mean, there's my buddy Kevin Hench does the Tim Allen stuff, and that's multicam, live, traditional, but it probably doesn't get the audience that those shows got.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. When you were a kid, you knew who everybody was on every TV show. It's the timing of the technology also is playing a factor in this, where Big Bang is the last thing that was on the networks. You turn on your TV and everybody has cable. Nobody even has cable anymore.
Right.
You're watching what you're watching based on whatever apps you want to pay for, whatever streamers you want to pay for.
I know. It's so weird. I don't know. I tell me. All right. I had a flashback to something I thought of. It's been a long time, but I had a thought in, I think it was 2001, maybe. Somewhere in the 2000. Yeah, let's say 2000. And I was shooting a bit with Jimmy, and we're doing a man show bit. And this bit was called, I think it was Hanukkah with Goldberg. It was Goldberg, the Jewish wrestler, was going to walk us through Hanukkah. And we were doing a bit. And so we had to go rent a house that looked like sort of suburbia and set it so look the living room, a dining room, and Goldberg's dressed in his underpants and come in and spin the dreidel and do all this stuff. And so we're hanging around the house in between takes, and you know what it is. You got downtime, or they're relighting or setting up or whatever. And it was just a house that a family would rent out for shoots. And I was just kind of poking around, looking around, and I went into the kids' room and I saw a big rack of CDs, and one of the CDs was The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, this kid can watch The Grinch That Stole Christmas in August or July if they want, or anytime if they want. And my first impulse is, oh, that's cool. And then my next impulse is, this kid's been robbed of an experience. Because when I was a kid, it came on once. And there was no pause and there was no rewind. It was just on.
Yeah.
And you might get up during commercial, but if it came back on, your sister'd be screaming. You'd have to run down the hall. It's back on. It's back, you know. And it was real. Like, I can remember being in like grade school going, The Grinch is Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to set, you know, synchronize your watches. The Grinch is Sunday at 8 o'clock on CBS. And there was some sort of foreplay and delayed gratification that was involved with it.
Yeah.
And I realized the kid who could watch it anytime he wants, I don't think he enjoys it as much as I did. And I don't think he even watches it.
Yeah. No, I think that's right. I think that's to have an event. Like, what cultural events do we even have anymore where everybody's watching the same thing at the same time other than the Super Bowl?
I just think about what a crazy treat McDonald's used to be, or fast food. Like, it was a treat. It's not like Grubhub, bring it to your house, like who cares kind of vibe, you know? And I think we're screwing ourselves a little with like sort of instant everything. Like, you need it now, you get it now.
Yeah, I think some of the lie of having infinite choices on an infinite timeline being infinitely better for everybody is being exposed. I don't think it's true.
Brunt Footwear. Yeah, this is good stuff. Look how handsome these boots are. They gave me a pair. Actually, I'm wearing their hat right now. I was wearing it before I came in here. I got a pair of the boots, the Omen boots. That's right. And I'm here to tell you, there was no big break-in nightmare with these Omen boots. They were ready to go right out of the box. You know the drill. New boots, you got to break them in. You get blisters and Band-Aids. I don't know, put mink oil on them or something. Not these. These things were comfortable as soon as they left the box. Most other boots require significant break-in time. And the thing is, they're not just comfortable. They're built to perform. Waterproof, safety toe, soft toe, pull on, lace up, you name it, they got it. Plus, if you wear them to work and they're not for you, send them back. No other brand does that because no other brand is that confident. Am I right, Dawson?
Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up. So they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For a limited time, our listeners get $10 off at Brunt. When you use code Adam at checkout, just head to bruntworkwear.com. Use the code Adam, and you're good to go. After you order, they'll ask you where you heard about Brunt. Do us a favor and tell them it was from this show.
Homes.com. Some might say Homes.com is the best home shopping site. It may be Homes.com's super comprehensive and transparent agent directory. Or maybe it's that Homes.com is the only site that always directly connects you with the listing agent who knows the home the best. Perhaps it's because Homes.com has the most in-depth neighborhood content of any home shopping site that's extensively researched to highlight the personality of each neighborhood. Well, I'm guessing it's all the above. Homes.com, they go above and beyond to bring home shoppers the in-depth info they need to find the right home right away. Homes.com, that's Homes.com. We've done your homework. Yeah, so I know mental health is a subject you're interested in. My thoughts are sort of get back to the tactile world, like start hiking and listening to classical music. And like, I tell everyone, just go build a treehouse. Like, go get your kid and go build a treehouse. And they go, huh? And I go, just go down to Home Depot, buy the wood, go up there, you know, get your tools. Like, go build something. Yeah. It'll get you sane, like fast. And everyone's talking about pharmaceuticals or deprivation tanks or cold plunges or whatever. It's fine, but go build a treehouse. You'll be sane the whole time you're building that treehouse or a barn or whatever. Just get out.
Yeah, I think the way I've heard it put that makes the most sense to me is just find the thing that you do where you lose time and do more of it.
Right.
Find what's meaningful to you and do more of it, like do meaningful things that you love to do. And, if it helps somebody else, it's probably all the better.
Yeah, and then I also think you need to kind of trick yourself a little bit, like shut your phone off and put it in the next room and go do some project or something. Like, don't have it on your hip the whole time, even if you have some thoughts about it or anxiety about it. But like, we're at this sort of mental point where, like, at some point somebody invented a treadmill, and somebody said, what do you need a treadmill for? We'll just walk to the well and walk back, with the water. And they go, no, there's no more walking. Like, we need to simulate this in order to burn calories. And there's going to have to be a kind of a mental version of the treadmill, which is you don't need it, but you should do it. And for me, it's like little stuff. I don't know. Be like, go out and learn how to drive a car that has a stick shift on it. It's like, why? No cars. You don't need it. It's like, I know you don't need it, but just do it.
Yeah.
I always go wash your own car. They go, no, take it to the car washer. Have the detailer guy. Just do it yourself. You go, you don't need it. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Because it keeps you sane.
Yeah. Well, these phones, they're optimized to grab our attention, and there's a war for people's attention in a culture where none of us have been taught that, like, how to control where we direct our attention. So it's like often the path of least resistance is staring down at the thing in your hand. And you're right. Like, if you just force yourself to lock it in the drawer for the day, I think you have an amazing day that surprises you.
I think there's little tricks. Like, I always shut mine off at night. And then someone goes, what if there's an emergency at 4 a.m? I go, well, first off, I'm not a paramedic. Like, I don't know I can't fly a helicopter if that's what you're talking about. There's nothing I can do but, like, worry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't really spring to action.
No, but isn't that interesting?
Someone needs jokes. Stat.
But isn't that interesting that people they do want to know that you could at least worry with them?
Well, it's a weird, it's a thing. Like, if you have elderly parents, and I did, and they passed, recently, but it's like, well, your dad's so old. What if something happens? And it's like, but then what? Like, You call me, I did have my phone on when my grandfather died, many years ago. I got a call like 5:30 in the morning, like, grandpa's dead, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to take 2 days off of masturbation, and then I'm going right back. No, I'm like, that's horrible. But there's really nothing practical for me to do other than to be awake and sort of wring my hands with you. And my feeling is I can shut my phone and then wake up at 9 a.m. and you can tell me grandpa's dead.
Exactly.
And we'll be in the exact same place.
Totally.
And that's kind of the way I'd approach it.
I don't disagree.
And also, it's like, I remember I was talking to my daughter last night, and she was like, I'm surfing every day. And for like a fleeting moment, I was like, sharks? Riptides, you know what I mean? Undertows, and then I went, good, that's good, that's healthy, that's good, get out there, do that,
Yeah.
Just, it is what it is. And it's a little, I think a lot of it is narcissism. I think people thinking they can control things or do things that they can't, they're just sort of out of their control.
Huh. Yeah, I wonder how much people have even thought those things through. I think a lot of those, they're like emotional responses that haven't maybe been thought through rationally.
Well, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of, like, somehow I could do something, but you can't do it because you're X amount of miles away and you're not trained in any specific discipline that could save anybody. And the point is, there's nothing you can do for grandpa if he flatlines at 4:30 in the morning, other than answer your phone and hear grandma sobbing.
Yeah.
And I guess that might be something.
That might be something. That might be a solidarity. Yeah, that might be comforting for grandma.
Yeah. I didn't like my grandma that much, but she did. She did love Grandpa. She was mean to me. I don't know. It's weird to have a mean grandmother. Were your grandparents nice?
My grandmother on my father's side passed before I was born, but my grandmother's still alive. She's amazing, and I was always obsessed with her.
Still alive?
Grandma Eileen Demgard, yep.
And she was good to you?
Oh, amazing. She was the best. I was obsessed with her, still am.
And your family, good? Like most people who get into acting early usually have a supportive family for it, because it kind of, there can be a thing where it's like dad wanted me to go into the plumbing business, and so I didn't get started till I dropped out of college and started, got in an argument with my dad or whatever, but you were doing it early.
Yeah.
So there must have been support at home?
There was support, and I found it surprising. I remember having a conversation with my father when I was like 25 years old, late one night. We were up like drinking beers, and I was like, Dad, how did you support me going to Mason Gross at Rutgers to get a BFA in acting, and never said a word against it. And he just said, he was like, you knew what you wanted to do when you were 15. He's like, and there was no way I was going to get in the way of that. He's like, as I graduated college, I still wasn't sure what I wanted to do.
What'd your family do? What'd your dad do?
My dad was a salesman, and he would travel. When I was a kid, he would travel all over the world. And when I got a little bit older, he would travel just in the United States. But and my mother is like a secretary, bookkeeper for a company.
So like real middle class stuff?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And was it always acting, or was there any thoughts about, shortstop for the Yankees or something like that?
No, brother, those dreams were dispelled early. I love sports. I played them all, and I was terrible at all of them. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't good.
I think being terrible at sports may be a blessing. Because I was a little bit gifted at sports, and that made me think I could do it for a longer period of time than I could do it. Realistically, it also gives you some thoughts of like, I'm going to make the big leagues or something like that, which should be dispelled. Like someone should have went, this isn't going to happen. You better fucking hit the books. But I was like, I'm going to do this, and it didn't work out. Maybe knowing that early, I mean, just like we all know guys that can't really sing, but they think they got a country album in them, and they keep telling you every time you see them, like, I got this and you think to yourself, this is actually not good. Yeah. Because you think you can do something that's never going to happen, and that's not helpful.
No, that isn't helpful. I mean, I think those sports is like, I play softball now with a bunch of my buddies. We play once a week, and we're terrible, but it's amazing. It's one of my favorite things I do every week, out in the sun, and just to be able to compete. And again, I'm still me, so I haven't like suddenly gotten good at sports, but like that part of development, especially in childhood, I feel like was such an awesome thing to be a part of. As an adult, I found myself like craving that feeling. Like I get it a bit at work, where you feel like you're part of a team and you're working towards something bigger than yourself, and everybody contributes and everybody's aiming in the same direction. But like you really, I don't know where else you get that other than playing sports. Glad they have slow pitch softball now.
Well, I think it's pretty much sports and war are like those places where you realize that you count on everyone to do their job, and if they don't do their job, like there's some, probably football maybe more so than baseball, in that baseball was like a little more individual, even though it's a team sport, but you still kind of bat alone, and you kind of field alone if you're out there. But football was like a real, like, we're going to war kind of vibe. And I could remember like really getting into it, and it, it was like in a way like when you hear about like those guys, let's see, trying to think of the hawk a dance or whatever, like they're all getting fired up to go to war. Like that's kind of football, like when everyone's like jumping up and down and screaming, not in our house, and breaking it down and all that stuff. It's like a war. It's essentially like a war dance, and then you're going to go in there and go do battle. Like no one's going to die, hopefully, but you're going to like do battle.
It's wild. I got to go to Rome for the first time ever a few months ago, and I was only there for a couple of days, but I was seeing everything and being inside the Colosseum. Like, man, how do you stand inside the Colosseum and not be reminded of a football stadium?
Right.
You know, it's so wild. Like this goes all the way back. Our desire to like get in that kind of seating arrangement and watch people compete.
Yeah, I agree. And you just watch. I was just watching the doc on the Dallas Cowboys, and it's like they're going back to play their arch nemesis, San Francisco 49ers, and they got beat by the Catch, the year before, and now they went to revenge. And it's like it's bloodlust. Like, and everyone's going to war. And
if the Cowboys want to go to war, they better pay Micah Parsons. Not going to be much of a war
back
without
then,
him.
They didn't want to pay Emmitt Smith.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but I think it's an experience that you would hope that most young men would have at some point in their life. It's probably less important as a woman to have that experience, but it'd be good. It's good for women too, but like a young man should experience that Band of Brothers kind of simulation that is football, and giving yourself up for the greater good of the rest of the team. Like, you're not carrying the ball, but you're running out front of the guys carrying the ball, and you're trying to
100%.
take somebody out. Like, that's the greatest. In a weird way, that's even a better feeling than carrying the ball sometimes. And I just think everyone should have that experience.
I think they should too. I think it's just as important for girls. I have a daughter, she's 2.5, and she loves kicking the ball and throwing the ball. And, I really hope that she plays sports. So far, she seems to love it. But
I'll tell you where it gets good with girls, volleyball. They're all talking, and they're all setting each other up. And the notion of setting your teammate up for a spike and lots of communication, lots of digging out and lots of whatever. It's real. It's palatable, man. It's big. I go to my daughter's volleyball games and they're talking and they're cheering, and it's really I think that's a good one for girls.
Yeah.
And it's it's got all it's more athletic than many sports too.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a good one. You're tall, your daughter be tall.
Hopefully.
She can play volleyball. And maybe she'll be blonde. She'll look good.
So far blonde, yeah.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Yeah, you know the jingle. They're in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly Auto Parts offers friendly, helpful service and the parts knowledge you need for all your maintenance and all your repairs. I've always used these guys. They're always local for me and very convenient. They have them all over the place in the Southland. I use them, get my race car back on the track and so forth. So whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you'll find the employees at O'Reilly Auto Parts are knowledgeable, helpful, and best of all, they are friendly. Yeah, last time I went into one, the guy held the door for me when I was walking out with my products. So stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit us at O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
This September, CBS hits are streaming free on Pluto TV.
I'm coming in hot.
For this month only, stream full episodes of Matlock,
I'm a lawyer, like the old TV show.
Fire Country, Elsbeth,
I do love a mystery.
NCIS Origins, Watson, and Ghosts.
What the hell?
This is the most amazing sight I've never seen.
All for free. The CBS shows you love this month only on Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
What would you like her to do? Do you have any thoughts?
Oh, man, I'm just excited to see which way she moves. It's so wild. I don't know how you feel about this, but having her, I always wondered about this idea that you're shaping your kid or that they sort of come in. And I feel like she came in as her. I feel.
Yeah. The nature is more powerful than the nurture. I think there's a part of us that likes the notion of going, you have to expose your kids to music so they appreciate, like they're into what they're into. The way you know it is you have boy-girl twins or twins. I have twins.
Right,
I have boy-girl twins. They're nothing alike.
Right.
They just do what they do.
Right.
They're into what they're into. But then you can go, my sister Lauren isn't into comedy. She's not into anything I'm into.
Yeah, my brother and I are so different in so many ways. Yeah, it's the feeling I have with her is more that the nurture part of it is don't mess it up, don't get in the way, and obviously love her and keep her safe.
Yeah. You basically are there to like keep them like fed and dry and indoors, when it rains and that kind of stuff. And basically not to fuck them up, essentially. Totally. And then if they can be, if you're struggling, then the dream stuff gets kind of backburnered, so if you just fell off the back of a cruise ship and you're flailing in the water, you're not dreaming about your architectural home that you're going to build one day. You're just kind of trying to survive.
Of course.
And like, for me, I spent a lot of time trying to survive, so I wasn't exactly nurturing my dreams of comedy and creativity. I was trying to get paid and get a roommate and get a place to sleep keep a truck on the road. It's real brass tacks stuff. So the dream stuff gets backburnered because you're in survival mode, So if you can do the survival mode stuff for your kid where they don't have to work hand to mouth every week and not know where their next paycheck's going to come from and struggle and all that, then you can free up some of their mental space to think about what they want to do.
100%, but that's hard too, because I'll ask you, but don't you think that the fact that you had to spend that much time in survival mode is why you're so successful now?
I definitely learned what I didn't want to do, which is an important lesson. Everyone talks about learn the stuff you want. It's like, no, learn what you don't want to do.
Right.
Like I did not want to do what I did for a long time. So I knew what I didn't want to do. I also got an ethic out of it because it's like, I was like, you're going to work all day and then at night you're going to the groundlings. Yeah. And you didn't have enough money for insurance on your truck, but that money you have that's extra, you're going to give it to the groundlings.
Wow.
And you're going to work out at the groundlings. So I did learn, like I got a good, strong base, sort of work ethic out of it. And I learned definitely what I didn't want to do. And I don't want to speak for you, but whatever we're doing now doesn't exactly feel like work because of
Totally.
because when you're on a roof all day in the San Fernando Valley, that tends to feel more like work.
Yes,
you know what
100%.
I mean?
No, we get to do what we love for a living now, but I do think of the things I learned when you're struggling, and part of it is also just like a proper placement of like what happens when it goes well is like you're part of something else that's happening.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whether it's like the timing or the right show or the right people around you or just like the right moment for something to go. And you don't get confused anymore about like, I am self-authored. I am, the complete master of my own success. It's like I work as hard as I can and I take full responsibility for what I'm responsible for. But there's so much you can't control. I feel like you learn that good when you're struggling. Like I imagine how confusing or disorienting it must be if you are just successful right from the jump.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I mean, I had a little of that when I finally got onto TV. Just everything worked all the time. And I didn't know what it was like to like pitch a show and not have it get on the air or do something and not really have it work out. It always just kind of worked out at the beginning. And then later on, I realized, no, you got to pitch a lot of shows before you get one show on. And it was a kind of a, I guess it'd be like getting to the major leagues and the first 3 times you got up to bat, you hit 3 home runs.
Right.
And then you went, what is everyone talking about? And why do all you losers have a 275 average? And then you get up there and you strike out 3 times and get a foul ball off your shin, and then you get hit with a pitch and you go, oh, I get why this is hard.
Yeah.
Right. And it was just luck of the draw that most people may have taken those 3 home runs and spread them out over 11 games. I just happened to do it in the first game. And thought there's nothing to this.
I did it in the first game, and then I didn't spend any time in the cages after that because I'm just that good,
Right,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't like, I can start doing cocaine and not going to batting practice, but I was like, this is pretty easy.
Yeah.
And then, then it just became, hey, you got to work. Like, some stuff gets on, some stuff doesn't get on, it's like life.
When you started to do podcasting, did you think of it as the next thing that you could do that you could be successful in, or was it more of just like a personal, I kind of want to do this?
I was like, I really felt like I had been on terrestrial radio for maybe 14 or 15 years.
By the way, I used to listen to you as a kid, Loveline all
thanks.
the time, you and Drew on K-Rock, yeah.
So I was like uninterrupted on the radio, and I knew that there's a relationship that people have with people on the radio that goes a little deeper than watching television because it's a more of an intimate kind of relationship. And I experienced it myself as a guy who loved listening to talk radio. When someone would retire or go off the air or something, I'd go, I'm going to miss hearing him every night at 8 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah.
So I knew there was that. So when I went off the radio, I just said, look, if you need to hear me on a daily basis, I'll be over here on your computer. If you don't, that's fine. And thanks for listening. But for those of us who have like kind of a relationship here, I'll promise to come on every day for an hour or so, and you can hear, we can get back to where we were. And I only did it for that reason. I didn't really have any thoughts about monetizing or advertising or downloads or anything. I was just like, I know for a handful of people, they take it. I'm trying to figure out a way to say this without sounding pompous, but it's a little devastating for some people. Like, I'm so used to listening, and it feels like a loss, So I was like, I'll just talk and it'll be on your computer and you can hear me if you want. And then it won't be a separation. And that's the only reason I did it. Really?
It's just so amazing, the intention behind that. I wonder how much it informs how successful it became.
I don't know. I mean, it was definitely at the beginning, because bandwidth costs money. So at the beginning, and the show was popular, so it used up a lot of bandwidth. So it would cost me $8,000 to $10,000 a month in bandwidth. But I also didn't have a job. So it was kind of a weird thing where not only is this thing costing you all this money, but there's no way to monetize it, so you don't get paid from it. But you also are only doing it because you got fired from your radio job, so you don't have a job. So it was I guess as I look back on it, there was a lot of intention involved with it, because anyone else would have went, I don't have a job, I'm not working for free, and I'm certainly not going to work for $10,000 a month to pay to work for free. But it for me, it was felt like the right thing to do, and I do have this sort of theory that if you're tuned up, if you tune yourself up, like you go, I'm going to get my radar dish facing true north. Like I'm always going to try to dial myself in and keep myself so that I'm pure in my thoughts. I know I can trust myself.
Yes.
Because there'll just be times like when people go, I can't believe you quit that job. That's the best job in the world. And I just go, I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And they'd go, yeah, but what are you thinking, man? And I'd go, I don't know, but that's what I wanted to do. So then we're done.
Yes.
Because I feel in tune, So it's like people go, what are you doing with this? Why don't you get another job back in radio? How come you're doing that? You're not getting paid. It's costing you money. And I would just go, I don't know. This is what I want to do.
Right. And I think that's the difference between listening to yourself and how you feel in the moment versus aiming at results. Like you're getting the results without aiming for the results. The results are a byproduct of you doing what you feel you should be doing in the moment. And I love how you say, like, I know that I have to keep myself tuned up and tuned in. Like you understand that that can't be left to its own devices. Like you're doing something consciously, whatever it is for you or whatever your routine is, you know, when you're in touch with yourself, and that becomes your greatest asset. Like that's the treehouse story from before. Like that's the thing where do you know yourself? Like, are you in touch with yourself? Do you know what your true north is? And then if you know what it is, do you know how to keep orienting yourself and adjusting yourself towards it?
Yeah, because the wind is blowing all the time, and it's trying to knock your radar dish off, you know, and you have to get up there and make like incremental little, you have to dial it in on a weekly basis so that when decisions, I mean, it could be a relationship where you just go, I'm done with this relationship. And then someone goes, why? Are they cheating on you? Or like, what happened or something? And you just go, because I feel like it's done. Mm-hmm. Or I feel like I'm done with this job. Or I feel like I'd like to do this. But if you're not tuned up, there's going to be issues. So tune yourself up. And then once you're tuned up, you'll make decisions based on clarity, not on reaction.
Amen. Yes.
All right, you're getting a plug for that. Task is the name of the show. September 7th. HBO with Mark Ruffalo. Tom, where did the 42 minutes go, man? That was fun. Come back anytime if you're in town.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you so much for having me on.
Debbie Gibson, her. She's going to be on right after this. Masa Chips. Well, here's something you probably didn't know. Back in the day, every chip we fried, they were all cooked in tallow. Now, this stuff is all in the seed oil. It's junk. That's what they do. They took out the tallow and they put in the seed oil, and you guys have heard all about the seed oil, right? Then sometime in the 90s, big companies swapped that out for cheap, highly processed seed oils, and it got even worse. Now, seed oils are sneaking into everything. 20% of the average American's calories come from seed oils. That's where the folks at Masa stepped in. They've made an awesome tortilla chip with 0 seed oils, just 3 ingredients: organic, nixtamalized corn, some sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. And you can taste it. I eat these things all the time. So if you're tired of eating snacks loaded with seed oils, go to Masa. That's M-A-S-A. They make the real stuff with the good stuff in it. Real ingredients, real flavor, real satisfaction. Right, Dawson?
Masa Chips is beloved by thousands of customers and has been endorsed by industry-leading health and nutrition experts. Ready to give Masa a try? Go to masachips.com/Carolla and use code Carolla for 25% off your first order. That's masachips.com/Carolla and code Carolla for 25% off your first order.
This September, CBS hits are streaming free on Pluto TV.
I'm coming in hot.
For this month only, stream full episodes of Matlock,
I'm a lawyer, like the old TV show.
Fire Country, Elsbeth,
I do love a mystery.
NCIS Origins, Watson, and Ghosts.
What the hell?
This is the most amazing sight I've never seen.
All for free. The CBS shows you love, this month only on Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
The Adam Carolla Show presents Debbie Gibson's birthday cocktail party for August 31st. Let's see who's here. Let's welcome 2 Roman emperors, Caligula and Commodus. Here's Italian educator and namesake for the schools, Maria Montessori. Here's legendary comedian and actor, Buddy Hackett. Actor James Coburn just walked in. Baseball Hall of Fame outfielder Frank Robinson is here. Here's Buddy Holly's drummer, Jerry Allison. Let's welcome the guy who designed all of those Yes album covers, Roger Dean. From the second incarnation of Fleetwood Mac, Bob Welch. Van Morrison is here. Hey everybody, it's Richard Gere. Former Los Angeles prosecutor Marcia Clark just walked in. From the Go-Go's, it's Gina Schock. The guy who killed Gianni Versace just walked in. His name is Andrew Cunanan. Chris Tucker is here. From the Arizona Cardinals, it's Larry Fitzgerald. And the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. Debbie Gibson is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Good to see you, Debbie.
Good to see you.
Congratulations on a tour right now. A book out as well. Eternally Electric. It'll be out September 9th as you hear this. It's substantial. I was just looking at it. It's not 210 pages. It's thick.
Yeah, they try to get you to do it to a lot less than. I mean, I had a lot of trouble cutting words.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, on one hand, I was like, I feel like people write autobiographies when they're a lot older than me, but I've been in the business for so long that I could write another 2 books easily.
I don't know. I mean, you hear these stories about, Prince so-and-so or Meghan Markle, and they're going to write an autobiography at, 27 or something like that. But that's probably just a money grab. There should be an autobiography sort of minimum, like President of the United States. You have to be like at least 35 years old to write one. Right?
I mean, yeah, listen, it's interesting to think of like writing an autobiography when people are not on the planet anymore. Because a lot of people write them when they're old.
Right.
And then they're writing about people, but like there were people I wrote about that and by the way, I'm not a salacious person and I don't, gratuitously throw people under the bus. However, I am candid. So I do expect like at least 20 people to say, hey, that didn't happen that way, or that, whatever those things are that people are going to be sensitive to. So it would be interesting to know how different it is my point is to write an autobiography when everybody's gone as opposed to when everybody's still here, except my mother. She's not here.
Well,
and I write a lot about her.
She obviously was around long enough to see your success because your success came so early and so often. And, I was thinking about it last night. I was hearing a lot of Taylor Swift got engaged talk. And then I thought, well, you were like kind of Taylor Swift before Taylor Swift. And then I thought, you were that before the internet, before social media and everything. And then I thought, is that good or is that bad? Or maybe it's neither. Maybe it just is what it is. But stuff had to get around organically back in the day.
Right. Like, I think that it probably would have been worse for my sanity, better for my career to be around in the time of social media. Because if you see my social media now, I love it. Like, I was a fan of show and tell in school. So I would have loved it. When I was living a kind of isolated life on the tour bus as a teenager, and you meet your fans and you say hi to whoever's at the stage door,
Right.
So to connect in that way with social media would have been great, but I think there's a cost to it, especially to young girls.
So your story, I'm very interested in people that start early with anything. I mean, there's comedians that started doing stand-up when they were 13, I'm very curious, like, how do you know what you want to do? I guess music is a little more in you, or you could come from a musical family, but what's the whole origin story?
Well, so my dad is naturally musically talented, and he was an orphan. He was technically in foster care. He's in a boys' home, and 4 of the boys formed a barbershop quartet, called the Peanuts. You haven't lived till you've heard the 10 Commandments barbershop style sung by 4 teenage boys in a Catholic foster care home.
Wow.
First, I must honor God. I know you wanted to hear it. Second, honor his name. Boom, boom, boom. My dad was the bass. And so point is, I grew up with music in the house. And I always gravitated to the piano, played piano by ear, and kind of just tagged along with my sisters to lessons, to auditions, talent contests. And then it became clear that I was the one that wanted it, in the worst way. So I did a lot.
Well, wanted what?
I just wanted to sing. Like, it's a great question. Whether it was in the living room or in the church production of South Pacific. Or I just loved singing. I loved being in the middle of music, in the middle of singing and dancing and acting and all of it.
Right.
The piano was really my happiest place.
Yeah, I just said loved what, because there's a lot of people that just sort of want to be famous, or they want to be on camera, they want to be known.
No, that's why I said it's a great question.
But there's others that just want to do comedy, or they want to sing, or they want to work with kids, and they just want to do it. I just wanted to do it.
I always said if I wasn't doing it at the level I ended up doing it. And by the way, the level I was doing it is not the level. If you take like the venue sizes and how fast tickets sell and whatever, that's not what's happening. You know, I sold out Madison Square Garden at 18. I'm not doing that now, but I am performing at the venues that, that want to have me there, and my people show up, and I love doing it. I love it for the love of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between performing at a club and performing in an arena, and I think most artists prefer the club. I don't know. It's weird. It seems weird to do comedy in front of like 12,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like the wrong art form for 12,000 people. But a concert, that seems like it would translate.
It's easier to do in front of more people. So like, I've done 54 Below in New York, which I love, and it's like a 200-person kind of cabaret style thing, and I'll do like a special anniversary show there or something. But then, like, I just was in Chile, and I did an arena. It wasn't a huge arena; it's like 6,000 seats, so it's like 20,000. But it's got that big feeling, and that built-in energy makes my life so easy. What
are some of the countries that love you? Because I always ask singers, because you never know. Weirdly, like they go, "Oh, Hungary." People love us in Hungary,
right.
And I go, there's no rhyme or reason to it, but I'm interested.
So I've just been getting back into doing international, though Asia has been a through line for me. Like Singapore, the Philippines. The Philippines, first of all, everybody in the Philippines sings. Everybody's got a great voice. It's so interesting. And like there's a huge Filipino population in Canada. I was just in Calgary and Pickering, which is outside of Toronto.
Did not know that.
And yet like the audiences were very much Asian, primarily Filipino, I feel. But yeah, Asia is always big for me. South America, particularly Chile. The UK I haven't been back to in a while to perform. I just was over there doing a TV appearance. Australia I have not been back to in decades, but constantly see my career and it's all in the book. Like I went into theater and focused hardcore on theater and continued to make indie albums, but when there was no internet. So so that was for a very limited audience. So, unlike, because my manager Heather and I talk about this all the time, unlike, I have friends like Richard Marx and Belinda Carlisle, and they're always in Australia and Europe, and they've kept up that international touring. I didn't have a big machine behind me. Went into theater, so just kind of starting again. The Canadian shows were awesome. The thing I find about going and doing international shows is because for here, I just left my friend Joey McIntyre. We just did a TV thing together today. And we were talking about this because both of us have been working every year consistently year after year. So it's not like that exciting when it's like, there's no comeback moment when you do that. But when you don't do concerts internationally for a while and you go back, they have you on that pedestal. They've kept you there. And it's great because here, I never know what I'm going to get. People are either like, oh my God, you're such an icon, or they're like, oh, we're booking Debbie Gibson, or they have me all over the place perception wise. But there, they keep you on a star pedestal. There are fans at the airport, and there's that kind of like mania feeling, which is super fun.
Yeah. So speaking of mania, you got started very early, but success came at 16.
Yeah.
And how did that even come about?
So, I started recording. First of all, I was doing TV commercials and voiceover. So I remember being in a voiceover studio going, wow, I really love this whole idea of recording. And so my dad knew a guy with a studio, and he was like, well, we'll do a demo. And I went in and I did a demo of like, Clang, clang, clang went the trolley.
Oh,
Ding,
so you're
ding,
doing
ding
musical
went the bell.
stuff.
And I did I Sing the Body Electric. I did Fame songs. And I just remember thinking, if I knew what those buttons did, if I knew what those faders did, I would make this demo sound so much different. Even the trolley song. I wanted a more rock and roll version, a pop version of the trolley song. And so I started lining up my sister's tape recorders on the ironing board. Like the red one with the handle and the Panasonic Radio Shackle. And I had this little Casio synthesizer. And I would play, I'd play like a beat, and then I'd like freehand play a bass line, and I'd play it into one recorder. I'd play that back, and I'd play another part into another. So I was trying to overdub. I was trying to record, multi-track record. And so my mom was like, this is ridiculous. I'm going to go figure out a way to help get you equipment. So she got a $10,000 loan from her cousin Joe, who owned a tractor company. This is the long way around to the story, but we've got time.
We got time.
And she went and she got this loan, and I got set up with like a Tascam 4-track and a Lin rack mount sequencer, and I used to splice tape for the radio DJs. You know, I used to, Fast Jimmy Roberts got the music. I thought it was only in my dreams. I probably made like 500 customized radio jingles for all the jocks.
Right. So
for my single.
They do.
So they'd want to play it on their show.
Oh, I see.
I mean, all kinds of crazy things.
There used to be like those things that go, Tom Holly in the morning, and then you know, whatever.
But I put it
work
into
your single.
I put their names into my songs.
Shrewd.
But I was splicing the tape. Yes, it was shrewd.
Well,
I was splicing the tape myself.
You would cut it with a razor blade,
yes,
right?
with a razor blade.
I remember,
back and forth.
I cut tape with Jimmy Kimmel back in the day. Like, you'd have this little aluminum-looking ashtray thing.
Yeah, with the little
it was like
slit in the middle.
It's a miter box, essentially.
Yeah.
And then you'd use tape. And it was just, for some reason, Scotch tape was the best. And it just taped it.
Yeah, you tape it.
And you'd, like, cut out a section of dead air or something, like 5 inches long, and then tape it back together. It seems so archaic.
It's so
weird.
archaic. It's weird. Like, I'm listening to myself say this, and it's no wonder I went to my prom, because it's weird. I was a very weird girl, very weird high school girl. Your engineers dig it. Like, your producer and your engineer are like,
very distinct.
Yeah, because it was like that was like 1986 in the garage, which also doubled as the laundry room. So
you would physically cut the tape and splice it back together.
Customize these, So in asking how all this happened, but that I jumped ahead a notch there. But I was doing my own demos in the studio, and I was doing I was in all the unions. I was in like Actors Equity and SAG. So I'd go in for an audition, and I'd see, music, anything with music, and I'd give them a demo tape. I was making my demos. Literally at 12, 13, 14, shopping my demos around. My mom and I would sit at the kitchen table and send them out. Got no's from Tommy Mottola and everybody, and eventually got introduced to an entertainment attorney. She kind of made that happen. She managed me. I had another manager briefly, and she took over and managed me for 25 years. But we just kind of did it the old-fashioned way. I mean, this entertainment attorney introduced me to the dance department at Atlantic Records, which was the office with no windows, stacks of 12-inch dance singles. Every artist got like $5,000 to make a record. And that's why. And at the time I was like, $5,000? I mean, like, great. It's a record. And now what do we do? And they were like, well, you have to do a club tour. And my mom was like, she's 16. And was like, well, that's what we went and did. We went and played clubs all around the country. It was my mom, 2 gay backup dancers, one who still dances with me today. Hi, buddy. And my mom would always go in and collect the money up front. And she'd say, kids, wait in the car. If I'm not back in 20 minutes, somebody come in after me. And on I'd go. And I would do a teen club, a straight club, and a gay club. 3 shows a night, 4 nights a week. It is very much probably like the comedy circuit, yes?
3, yeah. I mean, you do multiple shows a night. You do a teen club.
A straight club.
Now, they used to have underage clubs. I don't even know if they have those anymore.
Right. I don't know either. I mean, do they even have do people go dance anywhere anymore? Because I don't know.
I think it's a Latin thing out here, but and a gay thing. And then a gay club and a straight club.
I want to go to the Latin gay club is what I want to go to.
And you go in there and do your set with your backup singers.
Which, by the way, was only three songs, but they were the remixes. So it was like 12 minutes of Shake Your Love.
Mm-hmm.
With everybody sing Shake Your Love. I mean, and like the dance breaks and that's what we did.
And then off to the next club.
And then off to like change in the car and off to the next club.
What were you getting paid approximately per show?
Like maybe a couple of grand. Like maybe.
And you toured around.
And then that obviously grew as the single grew. But it was like 9 months of the clubs to get Only in My Dreams off the ground.
And your mom was pretty dutiful, man. And you're staying at motels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She's driving you. And where'd you get your backup dancers?
So Buddy went to high school with me and beat me in the talent contest with his dance partner, Linda. And then I hired him for the rest of his life. It's awesome.
So funny.
It's so funny. I was just thinking back, though, to a memory. It's funny because as much as it is in this book, every day I go, oh, my God, that's not in the book. So I'm going to tell you that's not in the book. From those club days, we were staying in such dodgy motels that Buddy and I were just talking about this the other day because we were in this little hotel and this girl said to Buddy, what do you do? And he was like, oh, I'm a dancer. And she said, I'm a dancer too. Oh, my back hurts from working the pole last night. And Buddy was always like, oh. He wasn't out yet. And I mean, the two of us, we were just these kids from Long Island and, hadn't seen very much.
So when so you went out and really just did like the shoe leather version of, I mean, there's a lot of this, of selling, make your tape, sell them from the trunk of the car, hit the streets, kind of play the clubs. And then the single hits and Well, so you shake the DJ's hands and then like the record pool guys. And then you start to make a little noise on that chart. And then it's like dance radio starts to play it. So like KTU, which was Hot 97 or Hot 103 back then, started to play it in the Miami stations. It builds that way. So it built from the 12-inch. Then Atlantic said, ooh, now we'll release a 7-inch to radio. So for as overnight as it was, there was a build. Right. So when we start as a nation experiencing you, are you 17 at this point?
Yeah.
And it hits big and it hits hard. And is it time to go out on tour at that point?
So I go from the clubs to colleges and amusement parks, that kind of thing. And then it was like Radio City, 3 nights sold out.
Right.
That was the jump.
And do they go, we're going to pair you with this opening act or this band or who's playing what?
Yeah, they did that. They did that with Atlantic acts. There was an act called Times 2 that had a song that went, strange but true, I think I had a thing for you. I don't know if you remember that at all.
I think I do remember that
and then
one.
You're making me remember all these fun things.
Good.
And that's not in the book either. Judson Spence, who did Give Me a Beat Boy, he did a remake of that song.
Oh, he remade.
My soul. Yeah. But he was an Atlantic artist that was a little more like bohemian and not my audience at all. So I felt kind of bad because the kids didn't really get that. But
I think that's Dobie Gray. See if Get Lost in Your Rockin'.
That wasn't
away.
Joe. And that wasn't. That was Dobie
maybe.
Gray. That wasn't Joe Cocker.
No, it wasn't Joe Cocker. It was either Dobie Gray or the guy just died who had all those hits. Anyway, we'll figure it out.
I don't know.
So he did a remake of that.
So so that they opened, and so they had some opening acts for me, and then same on the Electric Youth tour, and a group named Bros, Matt and Luke Goss. They're twins, British.
Ooh, Dobie Gray.
Oh, ding, ding, ding.
Right
Very
that.
good. And I opened for them at Wembley Stadium, which was nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, that was nuts.
And are you too young to be nervous or understand exactly the scope of this? And are you so in the moment, or do you have time to stop and go, Wembley Stadium, this is crazy?
No, I'm like, I was so fixated on like just my voice and like to me, like any dressing room is a dressing room. Like if I panned out that far, it was, I was, and I write about this a lot in the book, I was getting panic attacks. I was on Xanax, Prozac, everything by the time I was 19.
Really?
Because I was overwhelmed. And you're not allowed to be overwhelmed when you're young and famous, because then you're whining, you know? So, and that's where the problem comes in. It's, you know, I was always, oh yeah, I'm fine, I'm great, I'm excited. No, I'm nervous, I'm anxious. Like you didn't really know I didn't know how to articulate things at that point or how to process them.
What do you think you needed back then in terms of a best case scenario? Like
That's
if someone
such a good
said,
question.
you really need a couple months just to hike and kind of be with nature or
Well,
something like that, or like what would you have needed?
That's what I was going to say. I think I just needed more time. I just needed things paced out better, which is what I'm finally doing now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it literally took me all these decades to understand that, like walking around talking about my life in this book, I'm not doing 20 interviews a day. I'm not doing those kind of press days. I'm doing 4 meaningful interviews or 6 because at the end of the day, the variety of things I've talked about, it's like I've been in a therapy session all day, you know, to a degree. And so I allow for that. But back then it was, how much can you fit on an itinerary? And here's your life. And this is what you have to keep up with.
There's an inherent problem with the itinerary, which is the people that are making the itinerary aren't living the itinerary.
Exactly.
But what they're doing is they're getting a percentage of what is earned on the itinerary.
Yep.
And I don't really blame them, because what happens is, and this is where the burnout comes in, that the first 2 shows got sold out. You want to add a third show, and then they go, the third show's all profit. You know, that's where you make the cheese.
Right,
you know?
right.
And so they want to make 10% or whatever of that third show, and they don't care because they're going to be asleep while you're going out there for the third show.
Right.
So they do it, and they go, you want to add the third show, and then they go, on your way back from Mississippi, I got a gig in Texas. You can stop off. It's on the way. It's easy money. And meanwhile, you're just kind of thinking, you buy into it because you're like, well, I'm already there. Might as well add the third show. Or on my way back from Mississippi, we should stop at Texas and do a show. And you kind of get in on it, but the next thing you know, you're burnt out.
No, and even now with the indie touring thing, because, you know, the 3 in a row is kind of where it's at. But I have gotten to a place where I'm like, that's too much. And now we do meet and greet. So now you're doing I'm doing a 2-hour meet and greet, a 2-hour, 2.5-hour show, because that's how long my show is. And it's a big day. It's a big day. But still I get excited. Like I go, you know, Heather will say like, oh, you know, we can add this into and we both kind of suffer from that same disease. We're like, oh my God, that sounds so good. Wait a minute. Let's really envision doing this. Now, like next week when the book comes out, I'm doing a fly the day of an onstage event, fly to the next. We're doing that, but we're doing that for 5 days.
Right.
You know, I'm like, I could do anything for 5 days.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
There'll be a crash after that.
Well, I mean, I
be
guess
some recovery.
I don't know how you approach it, but you do. It is what you love to do.
It is.
It is your passion. You don't have a lot of sort of daytime sloggy stuff to juxtapose to it, which is helpful. I have a lot of horrible daytime jobs, so I can go, well, at least it's not as bad as roofing or something like that. You know what I mean? Right. There is a thing when you become successful very young, you don't have a thing where you can look back on 3 years working at that transmission shop during the summer where you go, God, it's not that bad. Nothing was that bad.
Well, you know what's funny? You bring that up because I talk about this too in the book. Those financial times where you're trying to it's funny. I always say there were times 20 years ago where if people didn't know me or there wasn't just that thought that they may recognize, I would have done Postmates, driven an Uber, because I love to work. I love to work. I would have done whatever to keep money coming. I love now that people can do that they can pull the trigger on any of that at any time. And instead, it's a weird thing when you're you're a celebrity, you're an entertainer, you come from a certain place, and then you're trying to keep your brand name protected, but you have to be making money, and that's where things get kind of wonky. And that's when like you're doing these kind of weird reality appearances and things that just, it's just a strange thing. So I look back on that time and I go, wow, this era is me doing these independent tours. It's my music. It's new music. It's the way I want to do it. It's the diehard fans that really want to be there. So yes, it is fun. It's fun again. Really fun. So I do have something to juxtapose it to. It's not the roofing. It's not the Postmates, but it's my version of that, which was like kind of like the soul selling, keep paychecks rolling in time.
And so everything blows up, and now you're on the road and you're playing these huge venues and you're having all the success. And is the money pouring in, or is it a situation where somebody got rich but you didn't? Or do you have a good deal? Do you have a good manager? Is your parents, good with it?
Yeah. So my mom was great with it. My mom always tried to get me to talk to and meet with the business manager. And I was always like weirded out by all things financial. I was like, I'm an artist. I just want to sing and dance and act. And like, I don't even want to think about the fact that I'm making money. Like I knew what I was making, but I couldn't put the two things together. And I just trusted everything was being taken care of, which it was. And I walked away from millions and millions of dollars in advance money at Atlantic when I didn't want to make records their way after making records my way. And so I very quickly went from the money rolling in to the money pouring out doing independent records and doing theater, which even the high-end theater money is not pop star money. And it was an adjustment for me. And by the time you make that adjustment, you're going into the red. And my mom, too, was like, she kind of needed and wanted the big office on 6th Avenue or wherever, and she wanted the staff and the phones ringing, and she didn't know how to scale it back either. So we kind of were like enabling each other a little bit on that. And so it did come crashing down at a certain point.
SimpliSafe. Well, I want to talk to you about home security for a minute. For years, I just thought it was about having an alarm that goes off once someone's already kicked in your door. But by then, it's too late. The guy's already inside the house, helping himself to your TV and your Pop-Tarts. That's the problem. Traditional security systems, well, they only activate when someone's inside your house. That's why I use SimpliSafe. They've flipped the whole model. Proactive instead of reactive. Here's how it works. Smart cameras, powered by AI, can tell the difference between a squirrel and some guy lurking in your yard. It's about stopping crime before it gets to your front door. So don't wait until after the damage is done. Get proactive protection with SimpliSafe. Right, Dawson?
You can get 50% off your new SimpliSafe system with professional monitoring and your first month free at SimpliSafe.com/Adam. Just head to SimpliSafe.com/Adam to claim your discount and make sure your home is safe this year. Keep your home, your family, and your peace of mind protected with SimpliSafe. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
What did Atlantic want you to make versus what you wanted to make?
So, I had done the first two albums. I wrote everything myself. I produced and co-produced a lot of the songs. I produced the two number ones. And then my third album, which I equate to, kids in college. Kids go to college and they're like, who am I? What do I want to be? Like experimenting with, my style. And so that album was, I think it was 8 songs on one side and 8 on the other. But there was like an upbeat side and a ballad side. But style-wise, it was all over the place. And I had a blast doing it. Like at that point, my mom and I had bought this big house together, and I had I want to mic the drums in the living room at the high ceilings and just, see what I can write to that. And I was doing all of that. And funny enough, that song called Lead Them Home, My Dreams is like a fan. Diehards are like, I love Lead Them Home, My Dreams. So anyway, so I was doing that. And that album, and I also wrote with Lamont Dozier on that album and had a hit with the song Anything Is Possible, which was the title track. And Atlantic, because that album sold 500,000 and not 4 million, they went into panic mode. And they were like, all right, well, there's a chapter in the book called Pop Bullseye Girl. I just thought I was just being an artist, but they wanted me to hit those pop bullseyes every time. Which, like, Madonna managed to do that in every era, every decade. And that wasn't my forte. Like, I was not a strategist. I wasn't like, let me find the producer that's going to help me get that hit and all that. I just wanted to write my music and do it my way.
Right.
So the next album, I wrote a bunch of, yes, I'm dangerous to that.
No, listen.
So
Dr. Drew does that. He gets animated. You're going to knock that glass over.
Oh my God! Yes, I'm an adrenaline girl.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wait. So I turned in what I thought was the album. I did a few songs with Phil Ramone because I'm a huge Billy Joel fan.
This is the fourth album.
This is a fourth album.
Right.
And there were songs on there that were very much like Whitney's How Will I Know. They were like Wilson Phillipsy melodic pop, very much me and very much in one lane, and felt like ding, ding, ding. These songs are congruent and all the things. And it was what was happening in music. But they went into the male mindset of, the record executives going, we need to put you in a little black dress and heels. We need to get you with Babyface, Prince, Arif, Martin, like all the hit makers of the time. But I was like, but that's everybody's album right now. That's Martika's album. That's Sheena Easton's album. We're just taking Lost in Your Eyes, which was a number one, which I wrote on my piano after. Again, it's like taking Taylor Swift and going, Taylor, we're going to make you into this thing. And I knew who I was, even though I was sometimes going through transitions, but it was always me. And so they put me with Carl Sturken and Evan Rogers, who did Soldier of Love for Donny Osmond. And if you remember, Donny Osmond released that like no picture on the label, like no name. And people thought it was George Michael at the time because Donny couldn't get arrested at radio.
Yeah.
So they released it and
it was the whole, I talked to him about that, but it was an interesting
so they
tact.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, so now the label's going, well, let's put her with the guys because this worked for Donny. The minute you start going, well, this worked for this person, so let's put it on this person, it doesn't work. Even though I loved working with Carl and Evan. And then I went into like my theater girl mindset and I said, all right, I can play a role. I can like do things their way, my way, their way. I can stretch but a pop music audience knows when you're not writing that song in your bedroom or at your piano after school. They know. They know. And so like that music now, I listen and I go, it's great. There's a song called Shock Your Mama. They're like, we want you. Doug and Ahmed said, we want you to write the kind of song that would shock your mama. Whose mama am I still going to shock? Like I still can't shock anyone's mama. But we wrote a song called Shock Your Mama and brought it in and shock your mama, shock your mama, baby. It's cute. It's kitschy and it's fun. And we bring it in and they go, we want you to put like one of those, like, think about those dirty limericks. And so this is Doug Morris and Ahmet Ertegun, like Ahmet was the god of music. And they start going, Doug, Ahmed, like I wish all the girls were like diamonds and rubies, 'cause I'd be a jeweler and polish there. And right before you say boobies, you say, shock your mama.
Right.
So they're trying to get me to write like a dirty limerick, which we turned into, if anyone thinks I'm moving too fast, tell the whole world they can kiss my shock your mama. So that's what we did with that note, right?
Right.
But these were like the directives that were coming at us.
Yeah.
And it was like traumatic because I was like, this is not why I got into music. And it started feeling like, surgery and not like music. And my mom and I would leave the meetings and cry and go, what do we do? And the album, again, I listen to the album now and it's a really great album. It just was disconnected to who I was at the time.
Yeah.
And that's when we parted ways at that time. But it's what they knew how to market. But then they didn't market it. Like it didn't work.
There's a strategy part to careers, and then there's sort of an artistry part to careers.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying one is right or one is wrong, but you do see it in careers. Like I was thinking about it the other day when I was just thinking about like events, like, oh, the Knicks made the playoffs. It's like, who are all these non-Knick fan celebrities that are trying to sit courtside and be seen now? And I'm like, well, what are they doing? And I'm thinking, well, they're not really Knicks fans because they never went to any of the games before this. But what are they doing? And the answer is they're sort of working their career. They're kind of being seen and they're schmoozing and they're meeting other people. And then you think to yourself, well, okay, it's a career. Like, if you have a job where you sell insurance and the clients come in town, you take them out to a steak joint and you go, what are you doing? You don't even like these guys. Well,
And you're a vegetarian.
Yeah, it's my business. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing my business. And you understand it. You go, okay, you just bought those guys a steak and some martinis because you're doing business. And I maybe should have been home with your kids and your wife or whatever, but it's business.
Right,
and so,
right.
And there's a element of that with comedy and singing and all of show business, and I get it. And then there's people that don't really want to do that part of it. And I don't know if it makes you, rebels or anything. It's just like not why you were attracted to the business.
Right. I mean, I think it's like a give and take where if they would have said, it kind of given me the directive, but not micromanaged it so much. But it's also different when it's a young girl.
Yes.
And you're telling a girl to become like, sexual in lyrics before that's organically happening. That's the line for me. And I think for a lot of people.
Also, did you now I have a theory, which is the people who are sort of good, they kind of believe in themselves and they go, well, I have ability. And so they go, well, I don't need to be Madonna. I'll just work because I have ability and talent. And like, I may not be a household name 20 years from now, but I will work because I have ability. So, when you tell the record executives, thanks, but no thanks, I'm going to go my own way, you're kind of betting on yourself, but you're betting on your ability.
Yep.
And you're saying, you know what, I can do musical theater and I don't need to fill Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
I guess.
Totally.
And I don't know if that's how you felt.
Totally. Or maybe someday I'll fill Wembley Stadium, but I'm going to do it my way on my terms. I'm going to find my way there or my way back there. Because it's not the other way just doesn't work. Because the funny thing is I was auditioning at the time for the Gypsy movie. I eventually played Gypsy Rose Lee, and she was a burlesque queen. Mm-hmm. And it was so perfect for me because she starts as this 12-year-old tomboy, and we see her morph into this burlesque queen reluctantly. And in the context of playing that role, I could do that. So I put that into my video for the first single from that album, Body, Mind, Soul, which was my last album on Atlantic Records. But again, what I learned is I knew I was playing a role. I was like, well, I'm going to make this like playing a role. Mm-hmm. But the audience doesn't, I wasn't Madonna playing all these roles at the time to them. I was me. I was their high school pal. Mm-hmm. So then it was like, what is my high school friend? Why is she wearing a bustier in video suddenly, right? Where'd that come from? And so I just learned that being an organic pop artist was what I wanted to be. And if it happened to hit those bullseyes and I happened to fill Wembley again, great.
Well, your dad was the musical one in the family. Mm-hmm. So where was he during this equation?
He was around, and he was he's still around. And we duetted on my holiday record a couple of years ago.
I saw the picture in the book.
Yeah, he's so great. You should listen to him sing. He's got like a Pat Boone crooner voice.
But
he's
was
so cute.
he trying to guide you or tell you to follow your heart or anything as the musician of the family?
He was like my dad / big brother. He was always like a big kid. And he was really there. He provided a lot of grounding for me because my mom was the shrewd businesswoman, go-getter, and my dad was kind of shrugging and going, oh, whatever, yeah, what she said, okay. Mm-hmm. We're going to Japan? Great. Pack your bags, everybody. Everything with him was so innocent and my mom always thought he should do something with his singing voice, and he has said this to me recently, he said, I know myself well enough to know that I didn't want the stress of show business. He worked for TWA Airlines for 40 years behind the ticket counter and crew scheduling, and he wanted to work make a paycheck, support his family, and he was great at it. And he was the most fun dad.
Was there ever a point where you got too big for your britches in terms of so much success at such a young age, where it's kind of easy to look back and go, oh God, I guess I got high on my own supply, or I bought in my own hype, or any of that? Or did you always
I don't think
stay
so.
pretty grounded?
I don't think so. Heather, I'm looking at my manager now. She's known me a long time. I don't think so. I'm like always, I'm always the girl who's going, I could have done that better. I could have, I don't usually look at like, hey, that was, no. The answer is no. I don't think so.
Who did you come across in those early days? Because we saw a lot of pictures in the book of you with lots of household namey bands now.
I mean, so many people. Like, I love the Michael Jackson picture I found for the book, because what I found was the contact sheet from the pictures that like my PR guy was taking while Sony was taking the professional shot that they eventually got me. So it was just me and Michael in this conversation, and we blew it up, and it's a little grainy, and it's so great. But the crazy thing, I mean, Michael Jackson and Whitney and George Michael, and I had the poster. The posters were still on my wall
of these acts.
Yes, from before I was on the radio to after I was on the radio, and then they knew me.
Right.
That was the craziest part of it.
Yeah.
Whitney Houston came on the radio the other day, and I can't remember who I was with. I said to someone, I will never forget her walking down the hall backstage. I think it was the Grammys, might have been the American Music Awards, and the hall was weirdly empty. And I was with somebody, my manager, whatever, my mom, and she just walked in. She said, Debbie. And it was so warm and so respectful. And I was like, Whitney effing Houston knows my name. Knows me.
Yeah.
And is giving me respect. Because I was always very, very aware, I'm sure you are too, of people who are being as nice as they have to be. Nice for showbiz, but not really warm and fuzzy. And, going to like all the parties I always would see like the latest, kind of sitcom stars or dramedy stars. They're on one season of a hit show and they're giving attitude. And I just remember at a certain point in my career thinking like, I've seen one of you every year. Like you can't, you may or may not be on a season 2. Like everybody needs to chill. So I always loved meeting people who were, they say never meet your idols. I was really lucky in meeting Elton John and Billy Joel and, George Michael. I had dinner with him and catering before one of his big concerts. The Westwood One radio jet flew me there.
Really?
Yes!
Westwood One.
Westwood One. Jerry Sherrill Sr. Rest in peace.
I was on Westwood One for a million years.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I think when people talk about maybe becoming a celebrity, I think they talk about your first big paycheck or buying your first big house, or people tell stories about, I got a Rolls Royce or something. But really the stories is when you're a civilian and these people, you find out someone knows who you are.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest, weirdest realization.
It's so weird.
It's not money or fame or anything. I was backstage at a K-Rock concert, like 94 or something. I was like barely in show business. And I ran into one of the guys from Guns N' Roses. I can't remember which one it was. Slash maybe or something. And he came by and he said, oh, you're Adam Carolla or something? And I go, yeah. And he goes, Axl thought you were going to be a lot older. And I was like, Axl Rose thought I, who have an Isuzu Trooper and live in a rented house in La Crescenta with 3 dudes, was like, what? Axl was thinking about what I might look like? Like, that is insane to me. Then those are the moments. It's not really the paycheck for $1 million or something. It's those weird little moments.
Totally.
Right?
Michael Jackson was telling me, like in that picture that's in the book, that he saw me on a TV special. And I was like, I just remember stopping dead in my tracks. Like, thinking Michael Jackson was home in his house watching me on TV.
It's a weird.
How does that happen?
It is funny though, because the conceit is somehow they don't know anything, and it's like it would make sense that he would know who you were. To me, it would, but I know to
It's
you
crazy.
it sounds
and Elton
freaky,
John,
right?
you know, is like Elton John is such a he loves the chart. Like he was like, "No More Rhyme" is number 17 on the charts this week, and I was like, "What? You know my chart position?" Like,
Right.
He's that kind of connoisseur, and he was very, very into young artists. Like he loved knowing what young artists were doing at the time. So yeah, one of my favorite moments though was Warren Beatty hitting on my mother. Because my mother was hot, and statuesque, and he looked at me and he said, because I was like trying to get a word in edgewise, and he said, "Deborah, I am talking to your mother."
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh,
I'm surprised.
splendor in the grass, indeed." I mean, because my mom was like, "Oh my God," my Aunt Linda and her used to watch. Anyway, it's just and watching her have those moments. And Smokey Robinson called the house once looking for her too, and my cousin Monica.
Looking for your
we're
mom?
this big Italian family. Yeah, all these men were getting her number. But I remember my cousin Monica going, "Aunt Diane, Smokey Robinson's on the phone." Like I just remember that so well.
He was hitting on her?
Yeah, he wanted to go out with her.
Wow, your mom
'Cause
must have been a bit of all right.
She was a bit of all right. She was managing an act on Motown, and so they had met up at the offices. And then I always loved, like, the rockers, like the Skid Row guys, and, like, Atlantic was a big rock label. And those guys always had I don't know what it was. I still, like, Fred Corey's in my new video for Legendary. He co-produced, drummer for Cinderella. He's my friend. But I always had this, like, rock guy respect and camaraderie weirdly. And I don't know, again, if it's like the same thing about like just the playing music for the love of music and that kind of working your way up. I don't know exactly, but I love it. It's fun.
Warren, I'm surprised didn't hit on you because he liked younger folk.
I was wearing some big baggy sweater, and it was my short hair phase, which I'll never go through again. But yeah, no, it made sense for my mom. It was kind of right before Annette Bening, and my mom had that short auburn hair. Yeah.
And Smokey Robinson, I just heard it the other day. To me, greatest pop song ever is "Tears of a Clown."
Oh, it's so good.
I love it. I love the arrangement. I love the bassoon. I love the oboe. I love the whole thing. I love the lyrics. I love the bass line. I just never get tired of hearing "Tears of a Clown." I just love that song. If it ever comes on, I just turn it on up.
That's so great.
It's so good.
That's a great song.
And he's written so many songs.
I got to write with Lamont Dozier, which was crazy. He and his wife were barbecuing, swimming, and had like the door to the studio open, and we're just going back and forth. I mean, I've had a lot of great moments like that.
It's nice when you write a book because you're sort of forced to chronicle them.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
And there's more. Again, there's so many more. I remember I was writing with Carol Bayer Sager, who I loved, and my mom was there in the other room, and then she said, "Hey, do you want to come to this movie? We're just waiting for my friend, and she's coming over." And Bob, the head of Carol, is it Warner or is it Bob Iger? I'm bad with names.
Bob Iger's the big
executives,
big
right?
mogul.
Is that him? I don't know. But anyway, she's like, "We're just waiting on my friend Liz and her dog." And Elizabeth Taylor shows up with her
dog.
Maltese Sugar, and then we go to Bob's house, and it's the screening, like the living room screening of Unlawful Entry with Ray Liotta, who I loved.
Yeah, he was great.
And I just was like, I was half watching the movie and just half looking around going, where am I? This is so cool. It was like everybody was a star.
Yeah.
And I just felt like a little girl tagging along to the whole thing.
We have a picture of your mom with Warren Beatty.
Oh my God, there it is.
There it is. There you are. And there she is.
Oh my God. That was the moment.
Wow.
Yep.
She got a shot with the man. And I guess it's funny. Smokey got a little bit Me Too'd a couple of months ago.
I
with
know,
some
I
sort
heard.
Of, maid action.
I
But
heard.
I don't know what happened to it. And by the way, more guys have been Me Too'd than haven't been Me Too'd now. So it's like I can't keep track of all the dudes who
Right.
got Me Too'd. But where was that? Backstage where?
That was at the Special Olympics. It was like, I think it was an opening ceremony in Denver, maybe Denver or Minneapolis.
And
I
they
don't know.
needed Warren Beatty there for what?
Representing one of the states. I don't know. Everybody was like, because it was like a real kind of tight security type thing, we were all being held backstage, so to speak, for hours.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It is weird how much stuff you did, and you go, I don't even really know what that was.
or where I was.
Or where it was.
Yeah, there were so many things.
So that is what year do you think?
90, I think. 91.
90 or 90?
Maybe 91.
91.
I'm like, when did I have that haircut? 91, 92, something like that. Yeah. I was
And-
like 21.
And so you get out of the gate, you have this incredible success, you're touring everything, you're doing everything. And is it, in your mind, is it, I'd like to keep this going, or is it, I'd like to get off this merry-go-round a little and get back to other things that are interesting, like musical theater, for instance?
I mean, I went right into musical theater, and I kind of went in, I went into Les Mis. Well, first of all, Les Mis was the last Broadway show I auditioned for before I said I'm quitting musical theater and TV commercials and focusing on music. And I told the executive producer, I said, if you want to cast me now. I'm going to be a big pop star next year.
Right.
I said that at 15.
Wow.
And he and I are great friends now. And he was the one who put me in Les Mis when I was 21. But I
So
went
at
in,
that-
it was a little by default at that moment because Seattle grunge was coming in. There was a huge pop backlash. And I was kind of like, rather than go try to figure this out, let me go be top of my game somewhere else.
All right.
And I
Well,
always wanted to do Les Mis and Broadway in general.
It's an interesting question because I've seen it. If you stick around long enough, you'll see people get built up and then torn down, and then they'll get built up again because there's some nostalgia. I mean, there's what's going on with all the Backstreet Boys and New
Yep,
Kids on the
yep.
Block, and there's just tours and stuff and everybody. And in a weird way, it's like fashion. It's like, whoa, we had bell bottoms, and then everyone, no, we don't want bell bottoms.
Right,
and then
totally.
we made fun of people who wore bell bottoms, and we wore peg leg jeans. And then some point we got tired and we missed bell bottoms, and we brought bell bottoms back. And
Yep.
we do that with acts
Yep.
a lot. Unfortunately, and I was talking to Carrot Top about this. Like, it's like, oh, hey,
My
it's
buddy.
Carrot Top. And then it's, oh, let's make fun of Carrot
Right,
Top. And
right,
now
exactly.
it's like, hey, and now everyone. I
Now
feel like
everybody wants to
everyone's
be
like,
Carrot Top on the
Top's so
strip going
cool.
on 20
Yeah.
years on a residency.
No, I get it.
Yeah, but yeah, I get it.
You don't. It's weird living through the teardown part.
It is. You want to know what? As you're saying this, something occurs to me, and it is, if only you had a crystal ball during the years where no matter what you do, no matter how good the music is, because I even had a review that said, like, if this album was done by anyone else,
Right.
it would be a hit because the music's great, but because that's in here. But because it's Debbie Gibson, right? So, like, if you could have known, like, you know what? Maybe I'm supposed to just duck out for these 5 years because no matter what I do, I can dance as fast as I can. I can make the greatest music and nobody's going to care. And because that really is the truth. There was nothing that was going to be. And like, I remember, like, I did a duet with Jordan Knight and we were playing, the cornfields, the radio, the station gigs, the whatever, right?
What year is this, sir?
What year was that? It was, I was in my 30s, mid 30s. It was like maybe 2006, 2005, something like that. And now cut to me and Joey McIntyre doing a duet of Lost in Your Eyes a couple of years ago. And it's, 2.5 million views on YouTube, which for a video for me right now is amazing. And we did the mixtape tour and we did it together. And like you just said, people were hungry for that nostalgic moment, the right thing at the right time, the right pairing, the right song, and there you go. But yeah, it would be interesting to have known, like, but also, like, there is the moment where kids disown everything to do with their childhood. You know, they go to college and they're like, I don't want to like the teenage music I was like, you know, it's so that happens with a lot of people. And then I have the diehards, my high diamond Deb heads. They've been on the ride with me forever through all those twists and turns going, no, really, she's cool. She's still cool.
Well, you have to have a lot of success in order to be torn down, you know,
right. That's a good point.
You need to achieve some altitude. Otherwise,
That's
it's just
true.
like jumping off jumping off an orange crate in 6 inches or something like that. You know, you need to have that. And then because they don't really, for folks who sort of live in the middle, they don't really tear them down. You have to have big success, fast success, and mega success, and then they want to bring you down. And then there's something about pushing you back up again.
Right. And, you know, it's funny you mentioned the boy bands because I always say also boy bands have this built-in thing where they can split up and get back together.
Right.
And solo artists just have to kind of maintain and sustain and stay relevant and stay interesting enough. But like, there's no like party trick I can pull out like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like I said, it's like, oh, she's still here and she's still like, so I just do what I do and hope that people, you know, the people it's meant to find it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you would do it for free anyway.
Totally.
Which I always try to tell people to keep in mind, you know, like what would you do if they just left you alone?
I used to say that in front of my mom to business people. She used to say, stop saying that. I'm trying to cut a deal.
They hate when they're trying to get money out of people and you go, listen, I'll do it for free.
But of course, we'd like pay people to have like, yes, I'll, you know, 4-wall this venue and let's just get people in there and that kind of thing. And there was that at a certain point, like Donny Osmond, you mentioned him, like he's my buddy too. And I feel like we're in a time right now that's different. Like I wish it was the time that when he and Marie started their residency, they were like promoters took chances and they said, let's just get people in the room. And they were able to build that way. But now they're not, it's like, you got to sell right off, you know. Right off the bat. It's different. It's hard ticket sales. It's different.
It's kind of like them going, we're going to make another Jurassic Park movie. And then you go, really? We need 5 of these things? And they go, people have heard of it. We can figure out how much money we're going to make in advance.
Right,
you go, well, why not take a chance on this indie script? It's like, we're going to do what we know.
Right.
And what we know is going to pay off for us. And so that's kind of where we're living. You know,
right.
And those days of the sort of, look, K-Rock Radio, when I was young out here, all the DJs got to pick their own music.
Wow.
They didn't even have a set list or a playlist.
A program director, right.
They're like each guy or girl would come in and do their own thing.
That's fun.
And they got successful because people loved that vibe, you know, that this guy was going to do his music and that girl was going to do her music. And they were playing stuff that people never heard of, you know, and they were bringing in these funky bands, you know, like Blondie or Oingo Boingo or something. There was like, what is this shit? Play REO Speedwagon, you know? And they were like, no, I like this weird David Bowie stuff I found, you know, but it was organic. And now there's a format and a set list and a whatever.
Right.
And that's just the way the world ends up getting.
Right.
Like it's always like, I always want to write a book called What Happens When You Become the Man. Because it always starts off real organic and real. Everyone's doing their own thing. And at some point you get a lot of success. And then when you get a lot of success, then the suits move in and they go, here's what we're doing.
Right, exactly.
There's no more of this old way of doing it.
But my point is I'm always happy to build something, what you said. Like, I'll do it for free. Like, I'm always happy to, like, I don't presume people know exactly what I do on a stage, you know?
Right.
I know what I do, and I know it's different than what other people do. And I know, you know, people dig it. So I'm like, I'm happy to, be resourceful and get and build something as opposed to waiting for that. Because what's that moment? Again, if you're a boy band, the moment is we're getting the band back together.
Yeah, no, look, everyone is guilty. I was just watching your video and watching you play the piano so beautifully. And I said, "Oh wow, she's really good on the piano," which
Thank
you know
you.
I should have known, but I'm as guilty as anyone else. You know, I'm busy.
Thank you.
I'm living my life.
Right,
She's
and
a
I
pop
don't
star.
and I don't walk around thinking anybody's thinking like, I wonder, what Deb's musical chops are these days. I am aware that nobody's sitting around thinking about it.
Yeah, and there's only so much bandwidth, and folks are very much put you in a box, and they don't even know. Like for me, my own version of that is I have to explain to people I do stand up. They go, "You do stand up? I didn't know you did stand up." Like, yeah, I do stand up. That they think of you as that guy or this show or that person or whatever. And I always get it. I mean, that's how I just did that with you and the piano.
Right.
I'm like, she didn't play the piano. Wow, she's really good. I didn't know that. Because that's how we are.
Yeah.
And if you know that going in, or you're just aware of that, then you go, all right, well, then my job is to convince these people that I do stand-up or that I do play the piano this well, and then they'll bring someone else to the show next time, and then there'll be another person that's aware of it.
But here's a question for you and a question I ask myself. Like, when people don't know, and they're like, because we'll get a request like, people either think like, oh, you're a big pop act. Can you come and play our cabaret space? Like as an, oh, by the way. And then other people think you're at the cabaret level. And then other people think you're at the arena level. And other people think, and none of it's the reality. And you go, when do you just like, again, kind of duck out and go, I'm going to just wait till I'm playing shows that feel like my level of my caliber that I want to be doing. Do you know what I mean? It gets confusing, which is why when I go play the Philippines, it's very clear. And Chile. You know what I mean? So like when people have you all over the place, it's like, how do you... It's an interesting dilemma.
It may be a dilemma, but it's not a problem. And no matter what venue or what size venue you're playing or where it is, it's still a venue, it's still you, and it's still not a regular job.
Well, all that's true for sure.
And so if you keep that in mind, you get a little philosophical about it, which is you get paid to do what you would do for free.
1000%.
And what you did do for free for a long time.
Totally.
And then you'll never work a day in your life, as they say.
Totally.
All right. Eternally Electric is the name of the book. And then the tour, it's ongoing, right?
Yep. Nostalgia Live, doing more shows in the fall.
Nostalgia Live. And the single is out Tuesday as you hear this. So is that tomorrow? Wait.
It's tonight.
Today.
Tonight. Yeah, today. Today it's out. It's out already.
Today. Oh, sorry. That's what I was saying. Sorry. I saw Tuesday in capital letters, but today.
Today. It's out today. Legendary.
Debbie, always great catching up with you.
Thank you. So much fun.
Come back anytime.
Thank you.
And until next time. Let's see. What's on there? What is, wait a minute. I did too many shows today. Debbie's in first. Is Garrison? Wait a minute. Put on the, I'll give the plugs here, but, Task with Tom. Is this? Okay. That's what it was. All right. Yes. All right. We'll figure this out. All right. So, Debbie, I want to thank Tom Pelphrey for coming in. Task name of his new HBO show. You can go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live shows. I'm going to Charlotte. I'm going to El Paso. I'm going to Albuquerque. And until next time, it's Adam for Tom and Debbie saying, Mahala.